good morning, and happy Friday to everybody. This is Brenda Perryman. Welcome to the Brenda Perryman Show. I have a great show for you this morning. My second guest, my second guests, I should say, are Mark Scott of the Miracles featuring Mark Scott. And he sounds so much like Smokey Robinson. And we have Joan Belgrave also. Now, my first guest, I just love this woman. She's such a brave woman. She's such a wonderful woman. I have Erica Murria. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Oh, now talk up. I know how loud you could talk. You talk to a whole room without a mic.
I know, right? A
Yes,
gift and a
yes,
curse.
yes. Now, Erica was the subject of an HBO documentary. She was one of the main subjects of it called I Am Evidence. And I Am Evidence actually is your saying.
Correct. It's my company.
Yes, that's your company, but it was your saying you had this dream. But I'm going to let you tell the audience about it. But HBO did a special about these rape kits that had been stored for so long, and nobody had ever looked at the rape
This is
kits.
true.
And there were people out there who were getting away with raping women.
Nationally.
And put your, pardon?
Nationally.
Nationally. Not only that, I mean, it's like, did you forget about women? What was the reasoning behind all this? So I have Erica here with me, and when we're ready, we'll show the trailer of that, of the HBO trailer. But Erica, good morning again.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning. Talk loud enough so your Facebook Live people can
Well,
hear
good
you.
morning, Facebook.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm supposed to
Erica,
look.
no, I mean, look at the camera, look
Okay.
at this, look at me,
Okay.
whatever you want to look at.
Okay.
Now, Erica, you're a lifelong Detroiter,
I
right?
am.
And where did you go to school?
Well, I was actually born in California on a military base. My dad is retired Marine.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved here when I was in the second grade. I went to Lodge Elementary, Tappan, which is no longer there.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
Tappan.
Went to Tappan and then Bow Elementary, Coffee Middle School, moved to Toledo.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom started working in the plant. She was a plant worker. And a big switch from being an administrative assistant to working in the plant.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Toledo, where I went to Whitmer High School. Still have friends. I go visit. They come visit. And then I moved back because I was having a hard time adjusting. So I came back to
What
Detroit.
what was the reason?
I was just so rebellious.
Oh,
I was at that time. My mom was newly diagnosed with lupus, and before she was diagnosed, she was having a lot of different challenges. And I'm 16, 15, going through my own changes,
right.
and we
Oh,
just were
yeah.
bumping heads really
That's
bad.
the time I
Yeah.
ran away from home when I was 15. But like the audience knows, I told them it was February. Why would I do
Why
that?
would you do that?
I got cold. I had
You
to.
had to go
I had.
back.
I had to do the walk of shame back. But
Right.
anyway,
Yeah, so my mom, while she was trying to deal with her health challenges, it was just easier for me to come to Detroit. And then I went to Persian High School. I am a dough
dough
girl.
boy.
Yes,
Oh,
I
a
am.
dough girl.
Yes, I
Okay.
am. And our alumni picnic is coming up.
Yeah, they have that big picnic
Yeah, on the
every year.
16th of June. We'll be out there on the football field. So it'll be a good time.
Right, right. Now, something happened to you.
A lot of things have happened to
I
me.
know, but something happened to you. Was it right after your graduation, right?
No.
It was
Are you speaking about the
the
film?
no, your the incident that happened.
Right. So that was my 21st birthday.
Yeah, yes, I knew it was a landmark time.
Yeah.
So tell the audience what happened.
So, for my 21st birthday, the boyfriend that I had at the time, we decided to have a big party at a bar. And we had a great time, a lot of drinks, a lot of dancing, a lot of food. And by the time it was time to leave the bar, he had to go to work. And I accidentally left my keys in his car. So I rode with a girlfriend of mine. I was going to spend the night at her house. We went to a gas station. Some girls that were giving us some problems at the party that we didn't know, they followed us to the gas station. They ran into her car, big fallout. We pulling out mace and everything, so the girls pulled off. My friend was so inebriated that she pulled off without me from the
Oh
gas
my
station.
God.
But my boyfriend's cousin pulled in to the gas station when he saw us. And so I got in the car with him. And I try to keep the story as brief as possible because it is in the film.
Yes.
But that night is when I was sexually assaulted by my boyfriend's cousin.
And was it a feeling of disbelief that he would do that? What was the feeling that you had?
Anger.
Anger.
I wanted to fight. I was confused because I didn't know where I was. I just wanted to go to the hospital. I remember feeling very dirty. One of my girlfriends.
Did you ever have that feeling that it was my fault?
Afterwards, after I left the hospital, I thought it was my fault. I thought that I had too much to drink. It was I should have did this or maybe I should have did that.
Second guessing yourself.
In our culture, we deal with victim blaming a lot, and victims blame themselves more than anything.
Isn't that weird? Why do you think that is? I mean, even in abusive marriages,
Yeah.
it always is the victim who said, "What did I do? I must have done something."
I think we try to justify somebody else's actions, and we tend to blame ourselves because you don't understand why that person would do something like that to you. So it must be me, is the thinking, in my opinion. But for a long time, I thought it might have been a setup. I was just really confused. Like, why would this happen to me?
Well, we have the trailer from the HBO documentary, I Am Evidence. And I want the audience to see that. If you're on Facebook Live and not, you can pull it up on YouTube, the trailer to I Am Evidence. But here it goes for the television audience.
They did a rape kit on me. I thought they're just gonna go out in a week and catch them.
And right now, my name is on a box, on a shelf, that has never been tested.
Really stunning news today about the number of rape cases police have never even tried to solve.
I had no clue people stockpiled rape kits.
Rape kits.
Untested.
Never opened, never tested.
I was shocked. There was just racks in an abandoned warehouse with windows open and birds flying around.
I could understand one city being negligent, but a nation?
When you find out that you have thousands of kits, what do you do?
We had to bring justice to these victims.
The rape kit backlog is the most shocking demonstration of how we regard these crimes.
There were rapists who were not caught.
And I can't understand what was so unimportant about me.
What were you wearing that particular morning?
What they see doesn't look like a real victim.
Violence against women is a low priority. All of these kits should be tested.
There are rape kits that haven't been processed across this nation.
And those kits start getting results.
Every day we get another 20 to 30 hits.
Over 700 identified serial rapists, just in one city, in one county, in one state.
Of course we made mistakes. We didn't realize the potential.
You can't change or fix what happened to one person. What you can change is what might happen to someone else.
When you get that list of names and it just scrolls down and it doesn't stop, this is something where we can't rest.
You don't tell me what I can and can't do. And all it takes is focus, dedication, and commitment.
The system should be more accountable.
I am evidence that this is not just a kit. This is a person.
Wow, it was such a gripping documentary, and I got the opportunity to see it twice. How did you get involved? Now, you had the rape kit done, right?
Correct.
And that was a number of years ago.
It was 12 years ago.
Okay, so then what happened and how did you get involved with the film?
So I've been speaking nationally, statewide, and locally through my nonprofit, Supreme Transitions, and with my mentor, Umi Hankins, under Transformation Detroit. And just talking about the economic policy reform and the intersectionality of issues that plague the African American community. And so I was at a national.
How did they start seeking you out to speak, or did you offer yourself to speak, or what?
Well, it's Kaylin.
Yes, of
So
course.
it all started with Kaylin. So
Yes,
Kaylin Risker was
right.
safe.
Shout out to Kaylin.
Yes, that is my big
I
sister.
miss her.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I was mad I had to mail her shirts.
I know.
But yeah, it started with Kaylin, and she introduced me to Umi. Umi is our mentor, so we jokingly call Kaylin Umi Jr., and I'm Umi Jr. Jr.
Oh my God. Okay. All these juniors.
All these juniors. So, but Umi, has been carrying a torch for years in African American studies and how to better our communities through policy change and reform. And so I've being an understudy to her, and she would just put me out there, like, go ahead, speak, talk. I want to see you do it. And
yes,
so
that's good.
Yeah, it was trial by fire.
Yes.
But it was good. It was fun. And I'm passionate about these things.
Right.
And so as we continue to get to know each other, and I gleaned from her, she was gleaning from me, unbeknownst to me, because I was always the youngest person in these rooms that she would bring me to. And so I had a different perspective of different things that we were talking about and trying to fix.
Which is great, yeah.
And she made me feel that my voice was important. And so over time, building my own nonprofit and servicing the community, I needed money. And so you come up with different ways to fundraise. And Tracy McCaskill had asked me to come onto her show.
Right.
And that morning when I woke up, I heard "I am evidence." And I heard it very plainly.
Right.
And then it takes me a long time to get out of the bed. I gotta look at the newspaper on my phone and check text messages. I mean, it takes a long time for me to get out of bed. So as I'm getting ready to get out of bed, and I'm sitting there at the edge of the bed, I heard it again. I am evidence. And it was like, it was almost like somebody was in my room with me. And so I got in the shower, and I heard it a third time. And so when I heard it in the shower, I repeated it back. I said, I am evidence. And it was almost like, you got it.
Yeah.
And so one of the last questions that Tracy asked me was, if there's one thing that you would give people about your story, you want people to remember, what would it be? And I said, I am evidence. And she said, girl, you better put that on a shirt. If you don't put it on a shirt, I will. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm from this city. I know how to hustle. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting a shirt made today. So I am evidence.
And tell the audience why that term is so important to this cause.
It's important to this cause. It's just as important as #MeToo.
Right.
Because we were evidence that was never looked at. We were people that were left on a shelf unattended to, that no one cared about, no one thought we were important. And so it's saying, yes, I am evidence, not in a tangible, objectified way, but to say, look at me, I am proof that someone did something wrong. Me, this person. That's how I feel about I am evidence as a movement.
So how many rape kits were stored? Or abandoned,
They
right.
were abandoned. They were abandoned in an abandoned police warehouse. It was over 11,000. I believe it was 11,000.
Imagine 11,000, almost 12,000 rape kits had not been tested.
Correct. So I was speaking in D.C., and I wear my shirts everywhere. And this young lady from Atlanta asked me, well, what's going on with the rape kit backlog in Detroit? And I snapped at her. I was really nasty. I said, I don't know. Google it. And my feelings, I kind of hurt my own feelings because I was like, Erica, where did that come from? So I go to my hotel room for lunch, and my sister came over because she lives in D.C. And
I love her. Her spirit is so great.
Hey, Alicia. She came up, and I was just like, I'm evidence. And she was like, what? And I'm like, we can't wear these shirts anymore. I'm walking around with this secret. I don't want to tell anybody. I'm really evidence. And she was like, dang, God tricked you, you know. So it was like an epiphany moment. I came home and I was scheduled to do a training session with the Sasha Center.
Right.
And I wore my shirt to the trainer event. And she was like, tell everybody about your shirts.
That's Camilla's
Yeah,
group.
Camila, yeah, or
Camila.
yeah,
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 Camilla
Johnson, yeah.
Johnson.
And she asked me to talk about my shirt, and I just kind of vomited it out. Like, I'm literally evidence that's been on the shelf untested for 10 years. And she was like, that's not what I thought it meant. So it was like me finally being brave enough to say it out loud after I realized in DC that I had been walking around with this shirt on.
And nothing had been done about your assault.
No.
Nothing after
No.
all those years.
Yeah.
So how did it all these roads collide? Kim Worthy, you, Mariska Hargitay from Law and Order Special Victims, right?
So from what I understand, when Kim Worthy, our prosecutor, found out about the kids, she was doing everything that she could to try to raise money. I actually joined the AA 490 challenge as a committee member to help raise the money to get the kids
because it cost
tested.
$490 per kid.
That was the cheap rate.
That was the cheap
That was
rate.
the reduced rate.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was the deal that we got. And so she was trying to put together these task force of women of color, because primarily the women on those backlogs were women of color. And so we wanted to help our own. And so we started raising money. She was lobbying. She was going to Congress. And then she met Mariska. They were both in Congress at the same time. And they had a conversation about it. And Mariska said, I'll help you. And Miss Worthy has said to me that until Mariska got on board, no doors were open for her. She said Mariska came on board, and boom, people started sending
Well,
money.
I know that Kim Trent helped raise money.
Yes.
She raised a lot of money, too.
She led us through with
Right.
the AA 490.
Yes. I had her on the show to talk about it. Now, then they decided to do a documentary.
I believe, I don't know where Mariska got the idea. Her organization is called the Joyful Heart, but I believe that after she started getting a lot of fan mail and then meeting with Miss Worthy over time, they were trying to brainstorm, how can we put this out in an impactful way and just hit everybody, you know what I mean, at one time. And they did a great job. Trish Adolescent and Geeta Gandaveer, they produced it or directed it for Mariska.
If you want to call 313-868-4336, 313-868-0351. But I'm so engrossed in this, I just want to hear more. So it took how long for the documentary to be done?
Oh, about 4 years.
Okay.
About 4 years. So I came in maybe like a year and a half, 2 years after they had started.
Right.
And so Trish had reached out to Kalima with Sasha Center to see if she knew of any survivors on the backlog. So the day that I went to the trainer event, the day before, Trish had just asked her.
Wow.
And
so you were in the right place
at
the
right time. And so Kalima, she called me, and she said, well, they're looking for survivors. And I was like, no. You're like, oh, no. Absolutely. I actually cussed. So she, short it along, she said, well, Erica, if you're going to do it, this was like a Tuesday. She said, if you're going to do it, you got to do it by Friday. And so I was like, okay, well, no. I was supposed to be in San Diego. I was asked to speak at a national summit in San Diego the same weekend. And so it was called Survivors Coming Full Circle. But the organization was having issues with my travel, my hotel, and being that I have been being mentored with Umi, I'm used to everything being paid for.
Yeah.
A stipend and, ground transportation, pinky up type of stuff. So I'm like, I can't make it to San Diego if everything won't be taken care of. So I just said a quick prayer. I said, God, if it's meant to be, I'll be there. And it didn't come together. And I talked to my dad about it. My dad is a therapist, a post-traumatic stress disorder therapist with the VA. He's retired now. And he said, Erica, you got to deal with this. He said, you absolutely have to deal with what you've been running from for so many years.
Right.
And so I showed up that Friday with my shirt on, two of my friends from church. And
you know, because something like that could happen, and something like that will happen, and to women, and they don't say anything. And I think just like the so-called, well, not the so-called, the Me Too movement, people started talking more about what has happened to them, don't you think?
yeah, because it becomes a village. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love that Gabrielle Union and all of these other women of color have banded together. Tracy Ellis Ross,
Right,
you
right.
know, have banded together, even if they don't have a story, just to say, "I believe you," because that's one of the biggest fears is that no one will believe me.
I know. And
You-
people
you know-
will say, just like you did, it probably her fault. She probably
What does
did.
she have on?
Right.
Well, how many
Yeah.
drinks did she have? You know, because even when I went to trial eventually, last year in January,
Right.
that's all that his attorney focused on was
I
what
saw
did
that.
I do?
I saw
You
that.
know,
What you have on?
what did I
were you-
have on? Well, why did I get in the car with him? I'm like, well, he wasn't a stranger. I knew him. I've rode in cars with him before.
Right.
You know, so it was a lot of victim blaming, and it's hard. It's hard because after so many people, even the people closest to you know, say things. Even now, I cringe when Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, all these things are national news, and you're sitting around family members, and your family members start attacking the survivors and saying that they're lying and they wanted it and they shouldn't have been there. And I'm like, I feel like you're talking about me. You know, I do take it personal because you weren't there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I've had to explain to people. They said, well, all those 50 women, why would they come out now? And I've said, the length of time it takes to tell your story does not justify or deny the
That
truth
it
of
happened.
it all. You know
That
what
it
I mean?
happened. Absolutely.
Because I've never talked about it. My family, I had to share with my family in the film.
Yeah, it's funny because you told me
Yeah.
that they found out through the film.
Through the film. Family members saw for the first time my story at the Detroit Free Press event when the world had already seen it. A year prior, we were at Tribeca in New York. We went. They've been on tour for a year before it was, you know, open to the public on HBO. So it was hard because I kept telling Trish, this is going to be on TV, and my family doesn't know. Like, I don't want to sideswipe them and make them feel like I could not tell them, you know what I mean? But I couldn't. And I remember when I was even going through trial and pretrial, every time my phone would ring from the prosecutor's office, I would go outside to my car. And they would be like, well, who are you talking to? They're like, is she doing drugs? Is she selling drugs? What's she doing? Because I kept everything so close to me because it was terrifying. That it's almost like, you know, I was raised with Christian values and beliefs. You know, I was baptized early. We were taught to be ladies. You aren't promiscuous. Your cookie is sacred. You know what I mean? And I think that for me was the biggest piece of the shame, was that I almost had to show people my underwear. Literally in a room full of people, just pull my pants down.
It's like they undressed you.
Yes.
It was like they undressed you.
It was horrible.
Well, what would you say to women out there who are watching the show, who have had things happen to them and they have not revealed it? And as far as the rape kits are concerned, now they got through all the rape kits.
Our rape kits are done. It will still take a few more years to prosecute.
Right.
But our kits have been tested.
So what would you say to these women? And what about a woman who was assaulted and did not get a rape kit done?
I think every story is valid, regardless to if you report it, regardless to if you got the kid and it was ignored. Your story is still valid. You are still important. Those emotions need to be expressed. I highly recommend therapy. I have several therapists, and I'm proud to say it. There are group sessions that I've attended with the young ladies at Sweet Potato Sensations. They have a group meeting. Where do black women go to grieve? I had to acknowledge that I was grieving the loss of myself, a major piece of myself. And so then I went to family yoga, with a family friend, because my daughters were also affected by it, even with me sharing my story, because I had to explain it to them as well. So I think that you don't have to necessarily publicly share it. People confide in me all the time. I'm available.
Right.
I'm actually starting a non-traditional trauma-informed group for women of color, where we're going to be in the park and we're going to talk about our issues.
Well, how can people contribute to your nonprofit?
My nonprofit is Supreme Transitions.
Supreme Transitions.
Correct. It is a 501c3, so donations are tax deductible. You can basically find us through all social media. I would prefer the Facebook page for Supreme Transitions.
Facebook.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's facebook.com/Supreme Transitions. And then my business page is my name, Erica Maria.
Yes. And that's Murria.
Correct.
Erica, this has been just wonderful. I got to have you come back because it's still a story. It's still so much to educate the public about, too. I mean, because you wouldn't believe the women that this has happened to, that people would never think it happened to them.
It's true.
Didn't you? Don't
true.
you find that?
It's true. And meeting the survivors who were interviewed for this documentary and seeing how it's a rainbow of women from everywhere. And it's just like, wow, you would have never guessed.
Rapists and serial rapists who have raped all over the country. There's so much that's going on, and we're going to talk more about that. Erica, thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be 29 again.
Yes.
So, and she gave me for my birthday. I got the T-shirt. Official.
And the film shirt.
And the film shirt.
Yeah. So this one is the original, and then this is the redesign.
Right. All right. I am evidence. Yep. Okay. Stay tuned for Mark Scott. Oh, no. Well, hey, everybody. I am back. I am back with Mark Scott. He's of The Miracles, featuring Mark Scott.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very excited. I mean, Joan told me about, that's Joan Belgrave. She told me about you, and I said, oh, yes, I want him on my show. And I watched the videos, and I said, how does this man sound this much like Smokey Robinson? I mean, you do. But tell me, where are you from, Mark?
I'm from Flint, Michigan.
You're from Flint? You're right here in Michigan.
That's right.
Okay, we'll speak up a little louder so that my Facebook Live people can hear you too.
I'm from Flint, Michigan, and but I've lived a lot of half of my life in Detroit.
Yes.
And my young life, I spent a lot of time in Cleveland, so I've got a lot of homes.
Oh, you've had a lot of homes. Now, were you an admirer of the Miracles coming up?
I was a Motown admirer, and
yes.
I definitely admired the skill set of a lot of Motown artists, tenors, and Smokey was one of them. Smokey, Eddie Kendricks.
Eddie Kendricks.
Without a doubt.
Wait a minute, I got a fan myself.
Yeah, those guys sang with precision, and that's what I've always tried to do.
Now, when did the world or your family discover that you could sing?
Oh, I was about 8 years old. I've been doing nightclubs since I was about 8, 9 years old.
You were doing nightclubs at 8?
Yes, ma'am. Sure was. Yeah, they used to lock me away in a room, bring me out and do the show, and then rush me off again, put me out because I couldn't be in there.
What were you singing at 8?
Oh, we were singing Temptation songs.
Really?
Yeah, the way you do the things you do, and all of those. Girls All Right with Me.
The Girls All Right with Me. What you know about that song? What you know about that song?
Yeah. My brothers were real big fans, and and my mother was a Marvin Gaye fan.
Oh,
and
wait a minute! I got to fan myself. Anyway,
and so we, I was surrounded by a lot of Motown, and Miracles were definitely a part of that equation.
well, and so didn't you sing with Bobby?
Bobby Rogers, Claudette.
Bobby was an original member of the Miracles.
Yeah, I performed with her, Bobby and Claudette.
And Claudette?
And Claudette.
Oh,
we did,
wow.
several television things with Claudette and Bobby.
Oh, wow. God rest his soul.
Yes.
God rest Bobby. Wait,
Pete Moore.
Pete Moore passed.
Pete Moore, yeah. They're very, very good. They've all been very, very good to me. It's been fortunate. I've been fortunate enough to have to work with them for over a decade.
Well, let's let the audience see what's going on in just a moment. Well, we're going to show another video. So from my Facebook, what is the title of this video?
What are we're looking
Legacy.
at Legacy of the Miracle.
After nearly 60 years and 40 top 40 hits, the legacy of the Miracles continues. Following in the footsteps of Smokey, Mark Scott, who toured the world as lead singer with original member Bobby Rogers, keeps the Miracles music alive, performing the group's iconic hits.
So take a good look at my face. You'll see my smile looks out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. There's the things that I want you to know now. Just as sure as the wind's gonna blow now. The women come and the women gonna blow now. Before you tell them that you love them so now. My mama told me you better shop around. Oh yeah, you better shop around. Shop around.
Motown's first performers and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, the Miracles, are considered one of the greatest musical groups of all time. Today, the legend continues. In concert, it's the legacy of the Miracles, featuring Mark Scott.
Hey, for those of you who could see it, you kind of saw what was going on, and you saw this young man here singing Smokey Robinson's part in a lot in the group. How did they discover you?
Ah, wow, that's a...
Oh, and we have Joan Belgrave sitting here too, and she has something to do with this, and we're going to pull all of this together.
Well, I was on the East Coast touring my first album, and I got a phone call after I got back, about 7 or 8 phone calls from one of Bobby's associates, and they were asking that they wanted to talk to me about singing with the group. I didn't know it was lead. I thought it was a joke, To be quite honest with you, I did. So I ignored it for a couple of days, and then I decided to go ahead and call. And I said, well, okay, let me stop these calls, and found out that they wanted to meet me, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go meet them and see if it's a farce. And I walked up the driveway, and there was Bobby, and so I knew it was real. Then we went down, and then we started talking. They said, well, we know all about you. I said, okay, do you know these songs? Can we rehearse a little bit right now? I said, I'm really not up on that because I had been focusing on my own songs, original material, and the artists that I was working with at the time. And so I went on and sang a few things with them. I knew a few of the songs, and so I left. And about a month later, Bobby called me and said, Mark, we want you to come and tour with us. And then the first show I did was with the Temptations and the Four Tops at the Mohegan Sun's Casino in Connecticut. So I was back on the East Coast.
So what was your favorite song to sing?
My favorite song to sing is Tracks of My Tears.
Oh,
yeah.
Take a good... Oh, I better stop.
Look at my face.
You see my smile is out of place.
Yeah.
Look, you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears. I sang with the miracles, y'all. So how you doing this morning, Joan?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah. Well, I was saving this segment because it's Black History Month, because usually I don't have a segment this close, but because it's Black Music Month, I was trying to save for musicians and all to honor. But this year, my Black Music Month is both July and June. I'm doing it. It's every month, but you know, I'm highlighting. And all. So, Joan, you have something. Wait, now, Joan's a singer. I know you've seen her on the show. She's a friend of the show. She was married to the late Marcus Belgrave. And Joan sang the other night at the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame event. And she sang a song that was in tribute to Aretha Franklin. Now, how do you all know each other?
Motown. Marcus was a Motown funk brother, and
make sure they can hear.
He was connected with all of the Motown acts, and so they're all family to me. And Marcus family. One of the reasons why we reconnected is that I'm producing. I started live Motown music performances at Cobo Joe's, which is a new venue downtown. And
Cobo Joe's.
Cobo Joe's, yes. And so I reached out to some of my Motown friends and asked them if they would support this because, as I mentioned at the Hall of Fame Award, Marcus and I, mostly Marcus, talked a lot about why we could travel all over the world and places as far as South Africa, New York, and we would go there and they would have live acts doing Motown music.
Right.
And then we would come home to Detroit and there was nowhere where anyone could go and see live Motown on a regular basis. I mean, where it was dedicated to doing Motown music. I mean, sometimes depending on what groups are at the casino, they will do some Motown, or some acts will put a couple Motown songs in their show. But there was no place where it was dedicated to the music that made this city, that put this city on the map. That's the music that put this city on the map. So I reached out to Mark and asked him if he would come and support. So every Saturday at 8 o'clock, there's nothing but live Motown music played by a Funk Brothers tribute band. And I was very, very fortunate that on last Sunday...
Is Ralph in that band?
No,
Who's in this band?
It's so funny because...
It seems like we got a couple of Funk Brother groups going on.
Yes. Well, these guys were 14 years old when Marcus was in Hitsville making the hits.
Yeah, who are they?
Jerome Spearman is on drums. Charlie Hawkins is on guitar. Sonny Manley is on bass, and Robert Jones is on piano.
Yeah, I know
Robert Jones.
I've
and
had him on the show.
and they know the groove, they know the songs. So I will rotate the vocalists for Saturday nights, but the band, just like Motown, the band stayed the same. Marcus was one of the band members at Motown.
I know.
And so because of the band, and I just saw an interview with Dennis Kofi the other day, and he was talking about the synergy. Coffee, right? Sorry. And he was talking about the synergy of the band, how the band stayed tight. And so that's what I wanted to keep here. I wanted to keep the band tight. And so Mark agreed to come in, and last Sunday he did his private CD release party at Cobo Joe's, and we had so much support, so much Detroit love. We had Four Tops in the house. We had Dramatics in the house. We had a Fantastic Four. We had the original Vandellas. I mean, everybody just came out and showed love.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, you all are performing again, right?
Yeah.
You're performing.
Oh yeah.
Will it be the Miracles featuring Mark Scott?
We'll always be doing the Miracles featuring Mark Scott.
Right.
We may highlight, some original material that I might be doing.
Yes.
To keep people up to breast of what's going on in
Right.
the evolution of the group now. But absolutely, it would always be dedicated
Well, you
by
know,
the Miracles.
the other day at the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, the great Clay McMurray.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Clay.
He said something that really resonated with me, and that was that we need to start making more rhythm and blues.
Yes.
And that really, really resonated with me because it's such a worldwide cultural music.
Absolutely.
Everybody, like you say, every place you go, people know Motown. They
Yes.
know the songs.
Yes.
I've been different places in different countries too.
Right.
Motown is the thing,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I literally grew up on it. It was Hitsville was not far from my house. We kind of took it for granted
Right.
that it would
Right.
always be here, and to see them out on the lawn, or you got to see them publicly a lot of times, and I was always speechless. Eddie Kendricks, tall,
without
just-
a doubt.
oh, he was. I was gonna sing, but so this is such a great time and great event. What should the audience see again? Tell us about
His new CD is, he has a new song right as you're talking about. He's releasing a new song in that
I
same
think
vein.
I have a new. What is that new song called?
Wendy is gone.
Wendy is gone. I should have that on in my playlist too.
It was written by Ronnie McNair.
Oh, really?
Four
and,
Tops.
and Marcus Cummings. I redid it. And Ronnie was there.
Yes, Ronnie was there
And
Sunday, and he
with
sang,
me,
and
that
it's just
song
amazing,
with me.
really.
It was beautiful. The release date is June the 30th.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It will
the
be
official.
available.
The
Yes.
official
The
release date. It should be.
official.
You can actually purchase it.
And this is of that song or your CD?
And that's that song. The
Okay.
CD is coming out in August, which will entail remakes of some Miracle tunes.
Oh,
That
really?
I'm doing it, in a new style. And
Do you know, you just made me think of one of my favorites. I had so many favorites because it really was the song of my teenage and growing into womanhood days, was I'll Try Something New. You could build me a castle. No, I'll build you
a castle with a tower so high it reaches the moon. Yeah.
And-
I've got a melody from birds that fly. Yeah.
and compose you a tune. Give your loving warm as mama's oven. And if that don't do,
lyrics,
I'm gonna try something new. You can do Supremes and the Temptations. We did
We
that.
do some
Miracles.
Marvin Gaye,
Oh, yeah.
Tammy Terrell stuff, but
you
we're gonna
should
do some other
should
things.
do I'm gonna
Early
make
morning.
you love me.
Yeah.
Early morning.
I'm gonna make you love me.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, you should
We'll
get
get
to
to
that
that.
because my daughter, who is of course much younger than myself, she loves that song. I mean,
The music then was it's universal and it lasts forever.
well, the music lives.
Yes.
It definitely does live because, and I could say I've done my bit when I was teaching to keep it alive. I wrote a play called 60s Girl, and in it I had a house party, and it had just samplings of different songs we had at house parties, and they were pay parties, waistline parties, or if whatever your waistline was.
Yeah, the good times.
And those are the days I paid 22 cents. But now I'd have to go into the dollar bills, But Yes, it's a wonderful time, and it bridges generations
Yes.
because the older people
Absolutely.
can talk to the younger people
Yes.
about it, and get the younger people to really appreciate it.
There was on one of the Saturday nights at Coble Joe's, there was a family there, and they brought their 20-year-old daughter. And I had a piano player. This was for a Valentine's Day show that I did there, and my piano player was 20. And, we did all of those songs. And she was so into it. And it was so wonderful to see the family there enjoying it. I just, Mark, I don't know, Mark hasn't told you, but not only is he a wonderful vocalist and the lead of the Miracles, but he's also a fabulous musician who plays many instruments and writes.
Well, let Mark tell me. What do you play?
I play about 14 different instruments.
14? Do they make 14 instruments?
He's the Prince, Prince.
Yeah, you like Prince, huh?
Well, I'm
yesterday was Prince's birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Prince.
Birthday, Prince, for sure. A lot of things that I'm doing right now, I modeled after the model that he in the industry, how he did his business.
Oh, okay.
With the way we're doing it now, I think he was an innovator in terms of how he would release his music.
Absolutely.
Got away from the primary labels and did his own independent thing.
Right.
And was still successful. He showed that it could be done.
It could be done.
And so I like for all the young people coming behind us to take note of that
Oh,
as
absolutely.
well. And that it can be done.
Independent artists.
It can be done. You don't have to be,
a couple of things. Raphael Sadiq, he kind of made some rhythm and blues. Also, there's one song by Beyonce that I just think, honey, honey. What was the name of that song? Huh? I can't do more than honey, honey. But,
Love on Top.
Love on Top was really a rhythm and blues song. And there is an audience out there for new rhythm and blues, and I think that's great.
And and people, somebody said that like Clay's not the only one, but several people have said to me that music needs to come out of Detroit. Because Detroit is a hub, and it's
a mecca for it.
It's a mecca for it, and for me, being a vocalist, people primarily think that I'm a jazz vocalist, but I'm a vocalist. That means I sing everything from gospel to jazz to R&B to blues. And I wrote a song that's going to come out on the blues charts that's being arranged by the great Motown arranger McKinley Jackson.
I talked to Mac 2 days ago.
Whose first hit was "Ooh Baby Baby" for Smokey Robinson.
Right.
So
I talked to McKinley.
that Motown feel is here, and I think that with Mark's new song and all of the other songs that are going to be coming out in Detroit, it will live.
Well, let's say it again. When is this? Tell us everything.
He'll be in Charlevoix.
We'll be in Charlevoix July the 28th.
Yes.
And then after that, we'll be moving around. We're going to try to get back to Detroit.
What about Detroit? Don't you have a Detroit performance this?
Every Saturday at Coble Joe's at 8 o'clock. Live Motown.
We had a thing we were going to do with the release, but we're syncing it up with the release on June the 30th. The release is June the 30th. We didn't want to do the release party.
The public one.
With the public one, right? Until the release was available, because only people come to the show. So we postponed that.
So we'll let you know. We'll be back.
We postponed that
until June
30th. A couple of weeks, a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be on the 30th. We got to work that out with the venue.
Right.
Well,
but the music.
But you can go to markscott.com for any information, or joanbelgrave.com, and all that information will be there
on the Miracles.
Yes.
Well, everybody, stay tuned. We have Table Talk next, and we will be back. And it's a pleasure meeting you.
Absolutely,
Thank you so much. I'm glad I got this opportunity, and my viewers got this opportunity too. See you in a few minutes.